Is the Edge Transit still just a meme like it once was back in the day? Or has it finally redeemed itself as one of the better grenade launcher options in Destiny 2? In this video, we're going to go straight into that and much more. That being said, if you'd love to see more educational content like this on the channel for Destiny 2, alongside more sci-fi content, then be sure as always to like, comment, and subscribe. And let's get straight into the video. As per usual, let's jump into the design and appeal of Edge Transit. Now, we'll take a look at both variants, the shiny variant, which I currently have on screen, and the regular version, which you can obtain through just regular tuning and just playing Onslaught mode altogether. Now, for one thing, I will say the shiny gold and green glossy finish is one of the reasons why I love this particular version. And it's just because when you look at where the gold and green sort of mesh together, it's just a combination of colors that really do mesh really well. They're very complementary. And I love the powerful, bold finish of the barrel and the grenades themselves, the handle on the side. All of these little subtleties are really what make it stand out, alongside the little emblem that you have on the handle, alongside the overall scope itself. You have to get the tiger there as well. And if you notice closely, if you slightly move the weapon, the lighting changes the actual color of the back of the handle. So you'll see some blue there. You might end up seeing some purple depending on where you are. Yeah, right here you see some purple sheen there. So overall, I think this is really well done. So shout outs again to Bungie for this overall design. And so now let's take a look at the regular variant, the regular version. And I don't know, for some reason I look at this and I'm like, it's okay. It still has or contains the purple, the greens, and the gold, but the gold itself just doesn't feel, it doesn't pop out, doesn't really stand out as much. And the emblem, while it's still very attractive in that sense, doesn't really give me the same vibe as it does compared to the other version. So regular version, I gotta give this a 3.5 out of 5, but for the shiny variant, this has got to give me, this is definitely a 4.5 out of 5. So that being said, let's move on to the next chapter. How does the Edge Transit compete against its competitors in the respective category of adaptive frames? Well, let's get to know the Edge Transit first before we compare. Out of the box, you're getting a blast radius of 50, velocity of 32, stability 42, handling 42, reload speed 39, aim assist at 62, zoom 13, airborne effectiveness at 6, RPM at 120, magazine at 6, and recoil direction at 70. As far as its perks, I'd say it's pretty diverse. From the left column moving forward, we have volatile launch, confined launch, counter mass, hard launch, linear compensator, quick launch, smart drift control. Next column we have alloy casing, augmented drum, mini frags, sticky grenades, high explosive ordnance, high velocity rounds, proximity grenades, and lastly spike grenades. Third and fourth column, from the third first, chain reaction, impulse amplifier, cascade point, repulsor brace, field prep, autoloading holster, envious assassin. And the fourth, we have frenzy, adrenaline junkie, deconstruct, bait and switch, explosive light, full court, and lastly destabilizing rounds. Now, as you can see, those perks are very, very tasty, and if you combine them well enough, you have some pretty serious god rolls to consider. Now, the one important thing here is its new origin trait called Indomitability, which states that final blows grant grenade energy when playing a light subclass or melee energy when playing a darkness subclass. So how that will fit into your particular loadout all depends on you, but it definitely is a trait to not sleep on, for it will be of great value. That being said, let us compare. And for this comparison, I'll be picking weapons that do not have the Adept connected for the sake of fairness. So I've gone with Cataphract GL3, Regnant, Wendigo GL3, and lastly Cry Mutiny. So across the board, the blast radius is the same at 50. But this is where things tend to be a little bit cut and dry. So velocity at 32 for edge transit, with cataphract sitting at 40, while the rest sit just below the edge transit at 28, 29, and 28 respectively. Stability is 42, with cataphract coming out on top with 44, and the regnant Wendigo sit at 37, 38, with Cry Mutiny sitting at a tie for 42. Handling is also 42, with cataphract once again coming out on top, with regnant and Wendigo slightly falling behind at 40 and 41, with Cry Mutiny once again sitting nice with a tie of 42. Reload speed, cataphract once again doing exceptionally well here at 47 for reload. Regnant ties at 39, while the Wendigo and Cry Mutiny for once comes out on top with 46 and 45 as far as reload speed. So the reload speed on edge transit a little bit slow, but hopefully if you're able to get a masterwork for it, that can help you. But nevertheless, we're kind of slacking there. Aim assist wise, 62, cataphract is just one above at 63, regnant sits 2 or 1 below rather at 61, Wendigo is above at 66, while Cry Mutiny once again sits at a tie at 62. Zoom across the board is the same, which is pretty good. And here, the airborne effectiveness is where things tend to really be quite distant. We're sitting at 6, while everything else has a 12, 14, 16, and 12 category number, which is pretty high to say the least. That's almost double what the edge transit has. RPM all the same. Magazine size almost all the same except for regnant and Cry Mutiny, which have 5 and 4. Reserves, cataphract once again coming out on top at 25, regnant 23, the rest tied 24. And lastly, we have 70 recoil direction, while cataphract for once takes a loss here at 69, while the regnant Wendigo do come out on top here with 74 and 78, with Cry Mutiny losing dramatically at 58. So what does that say altogether about the edge transit comparatively? Well, for the most part, we can clearly see that cataphract is a very, very strong grenade launcher option in the adaptive frame category. So if you do play trials and you have access to this, then cataphract for sure is a great option to have. However, personally for me, I do still think that edge transit, if you have the combination, as I mentioned earlier, of god rolls on edge transit, you will have a good time. And if I'm not mistaken, this will also receive some additional enhancements. So if you have access to edge transit and you have the nice shiny variant, then definitely take advantage of it, because you will get double perks, which of course is a very nice advantage to have. So altogether, as far as my take on edge transit for perks and performance, I gotta give that one a 4 out of 5. So let's move on to the next chapter. The section many of you are probably watching this video for, and that is the perk combinations. What's good for PvE and what's good for PvP? Is it even good in PvP is the question. Well, I have the answer for you right here. Now, as far as PvE is concerned, perk combinations are pretty straightforward. God roll wise, you're probably looking for something along the lines of, say, a chain reaction with Envious Assassin, or a bait and switch with Envious Assassin. Now, the ones I have and will show on screen that I have currently, I have Destabilizing Rounds, Envious Assassin, Augmented Drum Confined Launch. I also have Frenzy, Chain Reaction, Spike Grenades, Confined Launch, and Bait and Switch, Envious Assassin, Alloy Casing, Volatile Launch. And then of course I have Full Court / Deconstruct with Chain Reaction / Cascade Point, and Sticky Grenades and Volatile Launch. And then I also have Deconstruct, Autoloading Holster, Spike Grenades, and Countermass. So all of these I've tested out in different circumstances. And as far as my playstyle is concerned, I am a big fan of the Full Court Chain Reaction Sticky Grenades, only because being able to place sticky grenades on the floor really helps an Onslaught where you have a choke point where enemies want to come through and bother you. You can just drop down a few sticky grenades on the floor and then boom, problem solved. But of course, everyone's tastes, everyone's loadout is going to be different, and so your god roll is going to be varied. But for the most part, if you're able to obtain destabilizing rounds on this bad boy, if you are a void main, for example, then definitely grabbing that will be of great merit to you and your loadout. So for example, you can do repulsor brace and destabilizing rounds for the god roll if you're looking to really get the most value out of a void build. And even if you don't run void, you can still pop off with repulsor brace and destabilizing rounds just because of how good the pairing is anyway. So if you're able to obtain that, great. But if you can get things like chain reaction or cascade points or even autoloading holster, envious assassin, I mean, the third column is cooking. You're pretty good there. And then for the fourth column, if you have access to adrenaline junkie or bait and switch, explosive light, you know, destabilizing rounds, as I mentioned, even frenzy is pretty good depending on the situation. Again, third and fourth column for this weapon right now is cooking. So it's all dependent on you. I put that into your hands as to what the quote unquote god roll is for you. Let me know what your picks are in the comment section down below. And out of 5 for the perk combinations, honestly, I gotta give it a 5. I think the combination that you can really pop off with is really good. Not to mention, if you have the shiny variant, if you save that, eventually they will receive enhanceable traits from what I remember. So again, every more reason to have one and utilize it. So definitely 5 out of 5 for me. I think Edge Transit is certainly a very strong GL. Sure, the Cataphract beats it out in a lot of areas numbers wise, but as far as the perks are concerned, you can't go wrong with what the Edge Transit is offering. And so PvE, problem solved. PvP, however, that's a mixed bag. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the adaptive frames in the PvP environment, but if that's what you want to run, by all means, you could always go for something like maybe a cascade point or auto-loading holster slash adrenaline junkie or auto-loading holster slash frenzy if you wanted. Those are some options you have. Maybe even full court auto-loading holster with maybe spike grenades, sticky grenades. There are some PvP options, but I would say personally, if you're going to really use this weapon, maximize its potential in PvE. So that being said, let's move on to my final thoughts. My final thoughts on the Edge Transit are that if you are a huge fan of grenade launchers, then this is one to definitely add to your collection, most notably due to the enhanceable perks that you'll be able to obtain come final shape. If you have the shiny variant, even more icing on that cake, because now you'll have double the perks to work with once they're enhanceable, which only makes the Edge Transit that much more profitable long term. So if all that sounds good, then hey, like I said, today, tomorrow, every other day, take advantage of the Onslaught mode, grab your shiny, farm for your god rolls, and all in all, I give the Edge Transit a 4.5 out of 5 for all those reasons mentioned. That being said, if you love this content and you want to see more reviews for Destiny 2 weapons, then be sure, as I said, to like, comment, and subscribe. And you warriors, stay strong, keep fighting, and may the Force be with you all, always. Alright, see you next time, take care, peace.